Right, a very good evening. Welcome to this edition of Breeding to Win. And one of the highlights for us in the Breeding to Win team is to be able to get together and go out to the different stud farms. We're here at the beautiful Main Chance Farms, and they've had their stallion parade this afternoon. Hasn't been the greatest weather here, but it certainly didn't dampen the spirits, and a great crowd came out to Main Chance to see the new boy, the son of Dubawi, called Erupt. Let's take time now to go straight into our Erupt insert. Fantastic to have a Nyaka stallion here at Main Chance by a champion sire. He looks to have all the credentials to be a successful sire here in South Africa.
But it's Erupt in front by 2 legs. He's got out on old pair, but it might be too late. Northern Stars and Belly off behind those. Erupt is 2 legs in front. Old pair is trying to really in, but it's Erupt in front for Stefan Pasquier. He's got the Grand Prix de Paris. Erupt wins to old pair. No answers to
Erupt in front and is drawing off. Dartmouth in second, and they're not catching Erupt. Erupt has been tremendous to win by a length.
Dubawi is just having an absolute revelation of a year. He's been a fantastic sire for a long time. He gets Group 1 performance from 1,000 meters to 3,200 meters, which is phenomenal. And obviously in this country, we love speed as well as stamina, and he seems to be a good mix of both. South African record is pretty good. Obviously, it's not a big pool of horses to compare with. He's only had 8 runners here. All 8 have won. So 100% winners to runners, 3 Group winners and 2 Group 1 winners. So from 8 runners, 2 Group 1 winners, obviously 25% Group 1 winners to runners in this country, which I think is obviously is proof that the Dubawi's run very well here. One of those being Willow Magic, who's at stud at Summerhill. I think he covered last year for his first year. He won the SA Nursery, defeated Red Ray when he went to Turf and Team. And the other filly, Happy Archer, sold progeny here for millions and millions. So Dubawi, small group of horses here, but they've done very, very well. And we've come to Erupt, touching on Dubawi as the father line. His female line is nothing short of brilliant as well. His dam, Mare Nostrum, was a Group 1 performer. And Fran Falouche, being the 4th dam of the horse, is really a foundation mare, second to none. She has got many fantastic sires in that female line, and we're hoping obviously that this horse can replicate that. If I read off some stats for you, the Flying Spur inside 99 stakes winners, Costa del Lago 82 stakes winners, Holy Roman Emperor 71 stakes winners, and then the Argentine Super Sire Low also with 77 stakes winners. A stunning racehorse in terms of pedigree, and his performance is brilliant as well. In the absolute best places in the world where you can be, classic turf horse, he was out there and he did it.
Justin, we're here at the Main Chance Stallion Day. You've introduced Erupt to the crowd here, and a great turnout firstly on what wasn't the greatest day weather-wise.
Yeah, I think the farm gets 28 mils of rain a year, and it happened to rain on the one day that they lined the stallion parade, but it went away when the horses came out, so good attendance, and I think everyone's pretty pleased with what they saw.
He's an interesting horse for me. Obviously, he's by Dubawi, who is an international sire sensation at the moment. He's won 2 Group 1s over trips, but what a nice specimen as well, and it looks like a Sprinter miler.
Yeah, that's what a lot of the comments were. I can't believe he won a Group 1 over 2-4 because he looks like a speedball. And I think that's typical of Dubawi. He's an absolute replica of his sire, who, as you touched on, has had a brilliant 18 months or so. He knocked Galileo off the top of the TRC sire rankings, and he was there for the last 16 months. And he had a great weekend this weekend as well, with some phenomenal performance in France at Longchamp, and then obviously his son won the national stakes at the Curragh, emulating Dubawi himself, who did that as well. And as a sire of sires, doing brilliantly well. And we were just touching on the value that Erupt stands for, because in isolation to our market, coming in at 50,000 a cover, he can seem expensive, obviously, for a first season sire. But I think that's relative to the horses that they stood their first seasons last year, also around about that market. And then when you see his 6 Group 1 winning sons that stud in Europe, they're all at around €20,000, €15,000. I think the Group 2 winner Time Test is at €8,500. He's at about €3,000 after the recent Rand debacle. But so, it's a fraction of the price, and the value really is there because you're getting access to what was a phenomenal racehorse, a dual Group 1 winner, and obviously a pedigree with some really great stallions in their Flying Spur and Costa de Lago, Load, the Argentine Super Sire, all in from the 4th dam underneath. It's really a sire producing female line, and as I said earlier in the speech, he's got the pedigree and the performance, and you could just see his class and presence is there as well. So he'll get support this year from a big farm like Main Chance, and he's got huge farms all taking shares in him. They'll be sending mares as well, and key to any sire, especially in this market, is in a bit of a slump at the moment, is getting that support, and we're confident he's going to get there, and I think he can impose himself as a possible contender for the Freshman Sire Championship when his runners come out, because as you saw, he's definitely capable, like his sire Dubawi, who's 10% of his stakes winners of 1,000 metres. I think he's capable of getting a speed horse.
Are there still shares available in him?
Yeah, there are still shares. Obviously, the breeders, the Niakos family, they bred him. They've bred an insane amount of top horses over the years. They're a great breeding operation. They bred, obviously, horses like Miesk. They bred stallions like Machiavellian and King Mambo. So they raced Alpha Centauri this year, and that Study of Man, who I think he won the French Derby. So a real great esteemed family breeding operation, and they've kept a lot of shares in him. And obviously, if people are looking to buy more shares, there are always shares from them to be bought. So he is going to be well supported by the owners, which is always a good sign. A big farm like Main Chance, who obviously with Silvano, who we saw here in unbelievable order at 22, he'll be moving on in the next couple of seasons, and they're looking to erupt to fill that big void. So I think the breeders in South Africa should be looking to get in on him, even if they're not buying shares. Services can be dealt with. Phone up Tim Boetzer at Main Chance or myself, and use Erupt, because I think he's going to be a fantastic sire.
Robin, instrumental in bringing Erupt to South Africa. Firstly, a son of Dubawi, a Group 1 winning son of Dubawi, and he looked the part today at Main Chance.
Look, he's a beautiful horse, and what I find attractive about him for South African breeding is that I think, although he's a 1.5 mile horse, he's the perfect type of stallion who will get you outstanding 2-year-olds, middle distance horses and stamina horses, because Dubawi is exactly that. As you probably know, I've been lucky enough to breed 8 Group 1 winners now, and my aiming point is the Durban July, to try and get horses that'll stay 2,200 metres. And that's not so easy, because you need a measure of stamina in order to produce top horses. So I'm a firm believer in stallions who stay 2,400 metres, the classic sire like Silvano and like Dynasty. And I see Erupt as the logical successor to those horses, because they're both now in senior years. The fact that he stayed 1.5 miles well tells me that he's this type of stallion that'll produce Met winners, July winners, Derby winners. But if you make him a speed mare, I think rather like Silvano does, he can also get you an outstanding sprinter. So I see him as a complete horse. I'd also like to touch on the female line. You know, if you look at the foundation mares in history, his 4th Dan Franfrelos, outstanding mare by Northern Dancer, was a fantastic race mare and a huge progenitor. Her daughter goes to Sir Ivor, another great chef de race, produces another outstanding race mare who produces a string of successful horses. One of the daughters of her then goes to the Keenan sales, and that's the one that Stavros Niakos buys. As luck would have it, that's the one that turns out to be not much good on the racetrack. But she goes to stud. She's by Spectacular Bid. She goes to stud, and she produces Group 1 winners again, including the dam of this horse, who herself was Group 1 placed. So you see the succession of top horses again and again. And it just tells me that the genetic power and the pedigree is very strong. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this horse. I think he looks just like his father. I think he'll produce speed and stamina, and I hope the elusive July winners that we are all trying to breed and own.
Robin, the one thing that really caught my eye, he doesn't look like a 2,400 metre horse, does he?
Not at all. He looks just like his father. Now, his father was a Group 1 winning 2-year-old, national stakes at 2 over 7 furlongs, and the Guineas at 3. But, you know, if you look at Dubawi, it's quite amazing to see the range of distances. 10% of his progeny have won over 1,000 metres, but 12% have won over 2 miles. On Dubai World Cup night, he had runners in every single one of the big races: 1,000, 1,200 metres, 1,600 metres, 2,000 metres, 2-4, and even the 2-mile race, he had 4 runners. So I think the dual-purpose, ideal type of horse, speed and stamina. And as you know, in all breeding, it's this mix of speed and stamina that you have to try and get right as a breeder. And I'm hoping that this horse will do it easily.
You're coming off a special award for Equus Champion Breeder in terms of 2 Group 1s out of a very small crop of mares. Which mares of yours are you sending to this fella?
Well, luckily my mare has already been covered. She was covered yesterday. Mina Salam, who's by Medaglia Doro out of Circle of Life. She's a stakes winner by a Group 1 winner out of a Group 1 winner. She's been mated to a Group 1 winner, Erupt, who's by a Group 1 winner out of a Group 1 second. So, I think that that tells the story of how to load a pedigree with Group 1 class right at the top. And then after that, you just have to hope to get lucky.
ici, la police qui va enlever l'arc de triomphe. 5e victoire de la course pour Frankie Lettori.
Is storming home, one of the last possible gasp for the judge and Thriller. What a finish to the Melbourne Cup. The Brave is under pressure when they turn in. It's been a relentless run, Cup. Who's going to be the last man standing?
Battling on through, then Wings of Eagles, Cliffs of Moa, Wings of Eagles swooping though, and Wings of Eagles gets up to win.
His 3,000th winner. Vodacom Durban July, Gauteng Sansui Summer Cup.
Justin Snaith, what a year he had last year. Champion trainer of South Africa, based in the Western Cape. And we took time out with the Breeding to Win team to go catch up with him and some of his equine athletes to find out just how good that past season was for them.
Justin Snaith was once again our South African champion trainer, and it's lovely to be in his yard this morning reflecting on what a phenomenal season the Snaith stable had. Justin, once again, congratulations. It was an absolutely amazing season right from the start with the likes of Snowdance and Oh Susanna.
Yes, it was one of those seasons where we kicked it off well and finished it, and in between all of that we never had a lull with any niggles, so really it was just one of those dream seasons where there were very few chinks in the armour.
Exactly, you went to Durban with a strong string and pulled it off as well.
Yes, listen, I wouldn't say it's pressure, it's what we do, but there was a lot of expectation, and we use that word. It's for the Durban season, and it all worked out well. So, as I said, there was a lot going into the July. A lot of people were saying, oh, it's your race to lose in a way, and I wish it was always that easy. And it turned out it was. So we were very happy to walk away with the results we had.
And of course, it was the first Met for Snaith Racing. I mean, you've had loads of winners across the board, but you never had the Met before.
No, I mean, I think we've finished in the places probably 15 times through my dad and I. And we've come second a lot of times, so it was amazing that we finally did it with a 3-year-old filly. So I suppose we need to do it with an older horse to make it actually, you know, there was just, as I said, you know, with a 3-year-old filly to win the Sun Met is just incredible. So we were over the moon, and what a day too. It was just one of those days where we had the sprinter Bolt, and it was, you know, afterwards was a great evening. So fun was had by everybody.
Yeah, certainly a day to remember, and couldn't have happened to a better owner in Gaynor Rupert as well. Yes,
because you know, she puts a lot into racing, a lot of time and a lot of investment in obviously in La Marais sponsorships and Drakenstein Stud Farm. So it means a lot to us that you know, that well, look, also the horse was very important to her in that she found the broodmare in Australia, and it's an amazing find, you know, and so the value in the mare and the Oh Susanna and her brothers and sisters is just, it's amazing, and just very lucky. The day she arrived in my yard, I thought, okay, not the flashiest of horses, and then a couple of weeks later I phoned Kevin. I said, Kevin, this filly that you sent us, what's its pedigree? Because there's something here. I don't know yet what, but there's something here. And I phoned Kevin straight away, and he just started laughing. I said, why are you laughing? He said, no, it's a very important horse to Gaynor, and the pedigree is, it's like a AA pedigree or something, which we don't often get in South Africa. So I said, okay, well, this could be interesting. And luckily, it went the right way, and very fortunate in the early parts of her career that she was so well looked after through bad draws and things like that. She had to be given chances, and we never ever saw the full potential, and a few bad rides along the way. We never saw the full potential until it counted.
Well, it's a marvellous achievement just to get that many horses qualify for the Durban July, let alone have the first 3 past the post.
Yes, look, it's a race where it's run on handicap terms, so you have to be very careful on how you approach the race with certain horses. We learnt in the old days very quickly. I'll never forget, Terry was one of the first trainers where he was very careful in placing horses with winning chances. So we're very careful on what races we choose into the race. Sadly, the Gold Challenge has become a race where you don't want to run a horse in if you're thinking you can win the Vodacom Durban July. So it's a race that we start, you know, sidestepping, and it's worked for us into the race. The day was unbelievable. Gold Circle, we had a lot of problems going into the race with what was happening in Johannesburg, and I thought Gold Circle handled it so well, and it was a fantastic day. Racing the afterwards, and as I said, you know, to win it for Nick Johnson, who's obviously a homeboy in Natal, it meant so much to him and his family. Jack Mitchell, Bernard Cantor, just fantastic people to win that race for, because it's one of those races, it's got such history and no one can ever take it away from you. So it was an amazing day, and we were unlucky in the race as well. One of my horses, the jockey, decided to go at the 1200. Otherwise, I think we could have had probably the first 4 home, but that's part of racing.
And Bernard Cantor, he's hugely involved, obviously, with the Epsom Derby, and to see him when he was interviewed afterwards, first July winner in his colours, that was something special.
It was, and I think also to have Anton Marcus on, who Bernard really gets on so well with, was something special as well. And we went on into the night at the Oyster Box with Bernard and all the partners. So really just something special that, as I said, can never be taken away.
And it was lovely to see all your family were there on course, and you couldn't do it without all your family and your staff, and you've got a really, really strong team behind you.
We have. Look, my father's always gone on that I'm the only trainer to have won the Vodacom Durban July, never crossed the line first. So we phoned him and said, listen, I'm going to show you, you need to come. So him and my mother came up, and they obviously stayed at the Oyster Box. They had a lovely week in Natal, and got to see us do something special on a day like that, because my father's been going to Natal since 1972, and it really meant a lot to him. Then the team very strong. You've got Jonathan, who's the backbone and keeps things calm when everything fires up. You have to have someone that can hold the fort. And then obviously my staff are fantastic. We've got amazing assistants, and the grooms. Over the years we've built up such a nice string of people. And then obviously when it comes to bloodstocks and pedigrees and that, John Freeman and his team are always there and part of our group. So it makes us a very, very strong team. You have to, especially as I said earlier, who we're competing against. We have to have a strong team, so people like John Freeman are an asset, and pretty much we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for their input.
Yeah, well, I've got to give it to you. You've got such enthusiasm and professionalism in this stable. Now, going forward to the season, we've got all these big guns to look forward to, and you've got Richard Free riding out of his boots for you.
Yes, it's a big asset. I was always a Richard fan. He was always my first pick amongst the riders. Unfortunately, we couldn't come to agreement when he came back from Hong Kong. But the good news is this season starting now, we have him full-time. As you just saw him run out now. He doesn't walk, he always runs somewhere. And I'm so happy. Last season was a disaster when it came to riders. I didn't click with the riders for last season, and we had different agendas. So I'm very happy that will hopefully help us be one of those little things that will take us now into the season with some of the superb horses that we've managed to secure. We're hoping for a big season this coming summer.
That's fantastic. That's what we want. And of course, you're a fine horseman yourself. You've got your polo ponies ready now to do their training for third string. Yes. I've got 5 horses to ride now, and I try to hide them away from my brother. He moans about the bills. So as soon as my brother drives out, my polo ponies come out. He thinks I've got 3, but there's 5 there. So, but we've got kids now, and school fees are going to start up soon. So I could be, my polo season could be coming to an end soon as the bills start rocking up. But while I can, I absolutely love it. We've got a hell of a season coming up. I think on the 6th of November, we've got a big tournament at Val de Vie in front of probably be 5,000, 7,000 people. So also it's something I enjoy and keeps me occupied and keeps that feeling back for the love of a horse. And back in Durban, when you had the strike around the Durban July, you had to hop on a few of those horses yourself. Yes, not what you always plan, but you've got to make it work out. And that was short-lived in Natal, which was good news. It was one day, so if we can sort out problems in a day, that's a good sign for the future. So just looking forward to, as I said, there's expectations, and just want to meet those. Well, Justin, you've kicked off the new season with a real bang. I think you've had 30-odd winners already. So best of luck, and we're looking forward to following you in the future and in the season, the Cape season. Thank you very much for taking your time. Great, thank you very much. Well, it was great to be in the Champions Yard this morning. I've seen some of the champions in their boxes, and really, really excited for the Cape summer season ahead.
John Freeman, regular sponsor and contributor to Breeding to Win, sends us yet another stallion portfolio for us to look at. It is the breeding season. Some people haven't yet finished their matings. Let's find out more from John Freeman.
Futura starts to warm up, and Futura's coming home starting now. Futura will win the Beach Beauty Champions Cup.
Futura gets driven into the lead. Futura with 100 metres left to go. Futura beats Louis the King. 300 metres left to go. Futura is coming home full of running between runners. It's Futura. Futura wins the Germany Met.
Ice Machine gets the wake-up call. Futura's on the inside. Ice Machine and Futura. Futura digs in.
Finally, great response from our recently developed Foal of the Week promotion, and certainly some wonderful foals out there, some great stallions and some great farms contributing to the Foal of the Week insert. Let's catch up with what we've got on this week's show, and we'll be bringing you some of the winners later on in the month. Well, thanks very much to Main Chance for letting us host Breeding to Win from their wonderful farm out here just outside Robertson. Lunch has been served, so it's time that I get into the lounge area, and we'll be back with you the following week when we've got a whole bunch of new stories and some new stallion portfolios to bring you as well. From all of us here in the Breeding to Win team, we wish you a very pleasant evening.